Meme TV. Right before we went for that short commercial break, we were talking to Duncan. Horrifying story right there. And on the other side, it could be a success story. But well, from that story, we would like to hear what these Gen Zs have to say in regards to that. Perhaps now they're scared of moving or going abroad for these specific jobs. Well, Miss K.
And you know, the CS during Labor Day kept
Yes.
on saying cartels, cartels, cartels. And we hear about cartels in
Yes.
all industries.
Oh, my agency.
Right? And I want to ask our Miss El Chapo here.
Karibu, Miss El Chapo.
Do you think we are ever going to have a country free from cartels, or is that a utopia?
Thank you very much. Now, it seems like Mr. Chapa's going to be my name.
It is.
So, one thing I want to say, sioni kama cartels wataisha. And because cartels wataisha are starting with us. First of all, I don't see the reason why wanataka twende outside the country. Why? First of all, when the government ilitupa nini yake walisema, they are going to create jobs. They didn't say wataenda kutafutia kazi. So first of all, to get rid of those cartels, kwanza hizo kazi wanaenda kutafuta huko nje, wanatafuta za nini? You see, when you're going outside the country, you pay an agent. Pia kuna pesa ya ndege, huwezi enda foot. So utatumia ndege obvious. Na hiyo ndege huwezi enda free, utalipa bado. So speaking of that, that money you're going to use as a transport fee. That money you're going to use to pay the agent. Mbona mtu aseki your job hapa Kenya? Talking of that quicker job hapa Kenya, why do we have we have let me say Somalis, we have Indians who come here, waneka kazi na zina succeed. At the same time, we have Kenyans wenye wanataka kwenda nje ya nchi. Why? Because mtu akichukua hiyo do kufungua job hapa Kenya, ndio wao kanjua washamtafuta. Ndio sijui makarao sijui anataka nini kitu kidogo and all that. So that is where cartels inaanzia. So wacha kututafutia job huko nje. Because here in Kenya kuna job opportunities mingi. Another question is ataka tuitoe, and I think that is something tujue kwenye iliendelea. There was a time Kenya wali discover kuna mafuta, petrol somewhere. Yeah. What happened? That was another job opportunity pia ingetafutwa kwenye huko tujui, we don't know what happened.
Talo oil.
Yes, we don't know what happened. So hiyo ni pressing yenye ingeajiri so many youth here in Kenya. But now tuenda kutafuta, imagine someone amesoma ni nurse but anaenda kuajiriwa Saudi Arabia. This is a country that is too hot. Well, umeacha Kenya kwa climate iko sawa, wewe inakufavor, but unaenda place yenye unaishi ndani ya nyumba, uwezi toka mpaka kuku usiku. Mbona? So this thing of saying about cartels go outside the country, no, tunataka kazi zikuwe hapa Kenya. We don't want to go outside the country. East or west, home is the best. Na sitoki nyumbani. So it's either wanatengeneza job opportunities hapa Kenya ama pia wao waende nje, mimi nibaki Kenya nijitafutie kazi. Thank you.
Wow, El Chapo.
Thank you so much. Linda, we just want to hear from our guy here.
Absolutely. Even before we move to the guy, there's a beautiful lady right sitting next to me. From what you've heard, what do you make of this conversation?
Thank you for that opportunity. They say that when I was growing up, I was told that if I want to make it in life, I should move out of the village where I grew up. And village depends on, village can refer to so many things. It could be absolutely, as they say, where I was born and raised. It could be in my local town, or still it could be here in Kenya. Now, first of all, I want to acknowledge that for every probability, student knows that coin has got two sides, or rather, every circumstance is two-folded. I have relatives and friends who work abroad and they've made it. But again, that one should not make us to overlook countless negative stories that we've been hearing. So,
what do you think is the problem then?
So the problem is basically I want to kuunga mkono what Ms. El Chapo said. I just want to continue from where she has said.
Yeah.
Now, we are living in informational era and information is everywhere. When I had just arrived, I was with my friend here and we were looking at some of the minerals which are actually in Savo. If you Google right now, you'll see that in Savo we've got Savorite, we've got Ruby, we've got Tanzanite, we've got a lot of minerals there. And one of footballers, that is Messi's, he has got a very expensive watch made up of Savorite, and Savorite is in our country. Why don't our leaders really emulate one of my favorite African president, that is Ibrahim Traore? We all know the transformations that have come in place with Ibrahim Traore.
Thank you.
We also need, let me just conclude. We also need to change what we were taught when we were kids. We need to avoid rural-urban migration, because in rural areas is where we've got the real opportunity. We need also to change our perspective of money. Why are we working for money? The money should be working for us. In fact, money is an illusion. It's just a paper. The real thing is the wealth that we are living there. The cow there is the money. You're going to sell it, and you're going to get the money. Crops, they grow for free. And later on, you're going to sell them and get the money. So why don't we, first of all, utilize the resources that we have there? Another thing I want
As
to
you wind
wrap
up,
up.
as I wind up,
quickly, briefly.
I am a human resource professional, and I want to enlighten our job seekers in Kenya how they can actually identify fake job adverts. First of all, human resources who are very serious with their job know there is something called employer branding. And actually, one way you can have a better employer branding as a human resource professional is ensuring that your job advert is so well written down. First of all, you've got to tell people, what does your organization really deal with? What are the responsibilities? What are the qualifications? Okay? How are they supposed to apply that job through? And for you as a job seeker, when you see there is no way an entry-level job, unless it's an NGO or an international organization, can be paying a lot of money.
Wow,
One
thank you.
challenge you're facing
Yes.
is that in as much as they are calling us microwave generation, sometimes we need also to use our sixth sense. That is our common sense. Okay?
Thank you so much. You've had enough time. We wish we had more time, because where to make one. We'll get back to you perhaps if we get some more time. But can we just share with us what you partake of this conversation today?
So my name is Wanjala Silas. I'm an intern doctor and I'm a mentor. Thank you so much for the opportunity to engage in these pious, sanctimonious, and sacramental conversation. So and tonight, I think I want to take a different stand from what my colleagues or my camaraderie have mentioned. Na there's a saying yenye imekuwa kitrend kwa WhatsApp, ukiona memes, let the young man go and hunt an elephant. If the elephant kills him, his poverty is gone. If he kills the elephant, his poverty is gone. So, I think maybe na support watu waende abroad, mazi. I know there are a lot of yes. And stories have impact, eh? Story inaweza kufanya, hey, mazi ufikiria, mazi, do I really go to this place? But let me tell you, you see South Korea, they send their guys to China, to Canada, to all those places to learn the technology yenye iko huko ndio wakuja build their country. For us Kenyans, hata unaweza notice by the way, hawa CEOs wa Safaricom walikuwa wanawaka other countries ndio wakakuja kuemploy hapa. Unaweza pata hata CEO wa MediaMax labda aliwork outside ndio wakakuja hapa. So let me tell you okay. You can, kuna hiyo zote umepata hiyo, kuna hiyo risk, kuna hiyo nini. Mimi upenda kuambia watu just take a risk, eh? And I know if you know your purpose and you have identified your purpose, you may realize, to fulfill my purpose abroad, tafadhali, yes, you can take it. You can take it to the bank. Enda maju, kama hiyo opportunity imejipa, umefanya due diligence, enda huko, work, and then come and help our country. Kama ni technology, enda learn technology. Elon Musk anatumia technology gani kutengeneza Tesla, kutengeneza Solar City, kutengeneza SpaceX, all those.
Well, unataka kuenda wewe.
So
But now people should overlook those challenges that we've seen over time, because tumeona leo kuna NEA, this organization, the government agency, the National Employment Authority, bado iko involved. Unaona mpaka walikuwa na appear Senate. What is the problem? Yes, mnaweza taka kwenda, but now hizi procedures zenye tunaona ni kama zinakuwa broken down in different ways. Wewe uogopi?
So unajua Israelites before wafike Canaan walipitia lots of troubles kwa njia. Right? Na hata vile our brother pia alipitia lots of troubles and I sympathize with him. Lakini hizo troubles are part of it. So if you go through the troubles, definitely there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I know one time definitely you will make it. So don't give up. So kazi yenye President Ruto anafanya, anatutafutia jobs huko abroad. Sasa sisi tunaona president is bad. Na by the way president hajanituma nimuongelee. So si ati ni mbaya akitutafutia jobs abroad. Anajua the situation in the country na anajua tunafaa kupata hizo skills abroad ndio tukuje tuzilete kwa hii country tusaidie our country, si ndio?
Thank you so much.
Thank
NSK, we are Amanda.
Linda, and he says there will be light at the end of the tunnel. But there are some people who don't see that light.
But
they
they better
there.
stay optimistic though.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
But amesema kitu important sana,
Yeah.
do your due diligence.
Absolutely.
I love that. Kagina.
So when walikuwa Myanmar,
Warudishe.
we'll get back to that conversation. Lakini coming to Mulanda, the push and pull in terms of blame, who's responsible for what? Kuna wale wanasema do your due diligence, stop, the government is scamming people, the government says agencies are scamming people. Where does the ball stop at?
Before I answer that question, allow me, with your permission, to read something here.
Better be short.
Yes, during the Moi era, the Labour and Human Resources Minister, Joseph Kimeu, his office gave a UAE-based company, Al Najat, a clean bill of health. In fact, they used this company to ship more than 1 million Kenyans abroad. The payment at the time, the application fee for the jobs was 9,500. A year later, it was announced to a crestfallen nation that there were no jobs after all. This was in the 80s, I think. By then, at least over 10,000 Kenyans had lost a combined amount of close to 100 million shillings. No one recovered the money, despite parliament interrogations. Alfred Mutua, the current minister, is on the same chopping board. So this problem has not started today. It started a long time ago because we have an unemployment problem in this country and in most African countries, and this problem is not going to come to an end anytime soon. The president we have is jobless. Sisi ndio tumempea hiyo kazi. President Ruto has never worked anywhere. He's been a politician all his life. He got to Moi and the KANU government when he was in his 20s. He's never worked anywhere. Most of the senators and the MPs you have not worked anywhere. They are jobless people who you've employed. So that is as deep as the unemployment problem goes in this country. So we have a country that has a struggling manufacturing sector, a country that has a dying agricultural sector, a country that does not fund research. What do we research in this country? Be it technology, innovation, what do we research in this country? A country that is full of tokenism and cronyism, and a country that underfunds entrepreneurship. So we have a problem. And the president we have is not interested in fixing that problem. That is what I want Kenyans to understand. That they know you are jobless, they know you are poor, they know you are unemployed, and they don't want to fix that. Because when they fix that, they are going to have an empowered generation to deal with. They are going to have financially stable people, they are going to have elites like them, and they are going to have youth and a generation that owns land and resources of production and factors of production out here. And they would not want that. That is why they are interested in ensuring that the economy fails. They will pretend to do something, but they are interested in ensuring that the economy fails.
So there's no hope from where you sit.
They just want to take us
Kenyans
out.
should figure a way to survive.
The only solution is Ruto must go, and the rest of them, because they are not interested in fixing the problem. They are interested in shipping out close to 2 million youths. Hizo ni kura zimeenda. That is their interest. They are not interested in fixing the economy. They are not interested in fixing the country.
All right, let's hear from Duncan. When the youths out here, like Daktari here, is very optimistic about greener pastures, what would you tell them? You know, maybe from your experience and maybe from stories you've heard of people who've succeeded before, because I believe they played part in motivating you to leave the country. What would be your word to them?
Okay, I'll just talk about those who are speaking about starting a business here in Kenya first, I'll ask them, do they think we have the same passion? Or do they think we have the same grace? No. There are some people who like have many responsibility than others. Kuna ule msee amewekwa tu home, anaprovidiwa kila kitu na buda yake na masaa yake, unaona? Na kuna ule msee hustle from start to the end. Na get. So wase wakisema ati hizo pesa tunapeleka kuharibu huko hivyo tukuje kwa kabiashara hapa hivi manze, si kila msee akona ana think the same way una think. Na get. Like for me, venye nilisema nilienda majuju, nilikuwa na other big problems ambazo nilikuwa nafaa kusolve in a certain period of time. Unaona? Because hata mimi nilikuwa na waka hapa hivi Kenya. But to the youth pale hivyo nje, ile kitu naweza mwambia ni when the deal is too good, think twice. And then ni ngumu kabisa kudifferentiate between the real agents and the fake agents juu wanakaa same. After all, manze, kuwa tu careful, piga research yako safi kabisa, unaona? Because pia kuna wale wasi wameenda huko hivyo majuu wame make it, hata like nikikuongelesha tu sahi hapa hivi utaona nika like napiga tu kelele, unaona? Juu hata mimi wenyewe niko na mabeshte wenye wako majuu wenye already wako sawa, unaona? Ni ile tu kwangu ilikuwa bad luck. So piga research yako safi and also kuwa keen.
So Gava saizi imepeana a structured way ambayo inasema there are these agents, there are these jobs. In you, after that experience, would you try again if you got the chance?
Okay, kutoka majuu nimelearn a lot of things despite kuwa nimeteseka. Yeah, nimefunguka pia akili na pia nimekuwa challenged na other nationalities, manze, technology wise na pia brain wise. For me right now, I'm very careful. Yes, I can try. I give up. Yeah, I don't see myself like working in Kenya right now because to be honest, nimefungua macho yangu zaidi ya venye nilikuwa kitambo. So I'm very careful. I'm also like applying for myself kwanza, in short. Yep.
So you're applying for the jobs in person?
Yeah.
Wasema agents, they all look the same. It's hard to tell the difference. Whatever.
As you said, it did not hard, but there is a collusion between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, those foreign embassies,
and the government itself. Oh, I had left out some agencies. Most of these agencies are owned by these politicians. There's a collusion between the agencies, the embassies, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to defraud Kenyans. They know what is happening. An embassy comes up with a company that is unverifiable, offers a job that is non-existent. So recruiting agencies contact that same embassy on behalf of that company for the same job offer. The embassy knows this company does not exist and the job offer is fraudulent. The agency also gets the same information, but they are not interested. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs also gets the same information, but they are not interested. As long as you will pay for the passport, as long as you will pay for biometrics, as long as you will pay for medicals. By the way, you should know that most of these recruitment agencies which are recruiting on behalf of government send you to MPSHA. Who wants MPSHA? Why MPSHA? For medical tests. So as long as you're paying that passport fee, as long as you're paying for the visa, you're paying for biometrics, you're paying for the stamping at the embassies, they are good to go. They have their money. And you will pay that agent some commission, which ends up to the pockets of these politicians. It's one big game that is orchestrated by the politicos in this country to defraud the Kenyan population. They understand what they are doing. That is why most of these agencies do not reimburse the money they defraud Kenyans. Let me give you an example. There is a recruitment agency called Trustpin Agency, owned by Rish Kamuge. That company has scammed, that agency has scammed Kenyans for so many years, and in so many instances. They have taken Kenyans to China for non-existent jobs. They have taken Kenyans recently to Myanmar for non-existent jobs. But that company never reimburses the money, despite court proceedings. The court rules that the company is not, the company fraudulently took money from Kenyans, but the company is only handed a fine. The company never reimburses the money. So wewe umeiba pesa ya watu around 200 million, unapigwa fine ya 2 million shillings. Where does the balance of the money go to? The politicians' pockets.
So you're saying that those who are found culpable of conning people should be held to account.
One,
and,
they
and
should
made to reimburse.
One, they should reimburse the money. Since the 1970s and 1980s to this very day, there isn't one single Kenyan who's been reimbursed money after being scammed by recruitment agencies. They should reimburse the money. Secondly, there shouldn't be an optionality of whether the scamming agent should pay a fine or a jail or serve a jail sentence. There should be a duality in the two. You should serve the fine and still, pay the fine and still serve the jail sentence.
All right, allow me to ask Dan, even as we conclude. The agent ambaye alikupea kazi akakwambia nakupeleka, did you meet them once you came back?
Yeah, once I came back, they were begging me like to return to those jobs wakati tulikuwa tunaokolewa kutoka huko hivyo, but wakati nilikanyaga Kenya, they all closed the office. Kwanza mmoja wao alidelete Telegram, alidelete WhatsApp na akaswitch off phone. But the one mwenye nilikuwa na interact naye direct, at least alitafuta lawyer. So we've been conversing like a lawyer to lawyer. Yeah.
So the conversation is ongoing.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get justice. Indeed, that is the story of Duncan, and it reflects the story of many other Kenyans who have suffered the consequence of losing their money to either cons or fraudulent individuals operating under the watch of the current regime, since no action has exactly been taken to all of them. And so my call to the government tonight is the call to create employment opportunities abroad is welcome. However, you have all the tools and machinery required to ensure that just like the people who threw the shoe at the president were arrested as fast, that these companies who are scamming and conning Kenyans are equally held to account. That's it from me. I'm David Kagina.
Well, Kagina, since we have my shoe jar here, let's talk about two things that have stood out for me. Number one, Gen Zs know where the opportunities are. They talked about the mineral industry, and they also talked about excavation of oil. What happens to tallow oil, Kagina? Well, it's a discussion for another day. Another thing is due diligence is a must. Learn, they'll be paying for the present instead of them being the future. So a lot needs to be to be changed, and the government has to take responsibility, because it's a more of a fight between the government agencies and these particular private agencies who are looking for Kenyans to pry and to take them abroad. So well, a lot needs to be done, especially when it comes to government intervention. Ms. Gay.
Thank you so much for that, Linda. We have talked, we have concluded, and here is my 2 cents as we close up the show. The same government that could not investigate or refused to investigate who killed Gen Zs on June 25th and got mad at the media for shedding some light on the same is the very same government that investigated the famous Migori shoe story and had 3 people arrested in minutes. A shoe got more hands on deck than an actual bullet. Okay. The same government who, after one of their own, the late Kasipul MP Charles Ongondo Were was brutally murdered, had ready suspects to be arraigned in court in just a couple of hours. So clearly, if the government and their investigative bodies wanted to bring justice to victims, they would. They have the full capacity to do their job. They simply seem to choose not to. So if you, government officials, wanted to eradicate the alleged scammers that are stealing from the young people looking for jobs in the name of agencies, you would. Unless, of course, the government is benefiting from this chaos, one way or another. Setting up the vulnerable for quick cash. Now that would be such a shame. Now, as Senator Gloria Oroba and CS Alfred Mutua continue to engage in their cat fight, we ask that justice prevails. I rest my case. That's it from us. My name is Miss Kahiro, and this has been the Gen Z Manifesto. See you next Tuesday, same time, same place.
Ivi Muthegi wa Ruriri.
Umako
niki
wagu ni gukorwo kinyite guku thaa 4
ngai ndiaga ndangari
ndike nguire
mwaka uyu